TV, Durham Region North.
Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. Happy New Year. Or I should say, Happy New Year. Now, I decided to pull a card for the top of the show. Didn't even look at it yet. Pulled it out. And this is a card for 2022 for all of the Uxbridge Scugog Onions. All right, flow. Find an easier path forwards. Surrender the outcome. Release your expectations. All right, so we need to go with the flow of 2022, and we can't be predetermined something is going to happen a certain way. All right, so we're going to flow with it in 2022. Maybe I should pull another card at the end of the show and just get a little bit more information about this. So we are going to have a great show. We're going to be talking to the fire department. We'll also be talking to the Optimist Club, Chris Wilson of the Optimist Club, and the Durham Humane Society is on talking to us about those pets that maybe you got for Christmas, or maybe you got those COVID puppies. So we'll be talking about that. Keep on watching because we're gonna have a whole lot of fun to be had at the beginning of 2022. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
The Canadian film and TV industry recognizes it's time to build a better workforce, which includes more opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and persons of color. HireBIPOC.com is here to help make this happen. Whether you're already in the business, trying to get a start, or in a position to hire, HireBIPOC.com could connect you to the right people. From script to development, production to post, distribution to marketing. Check out HireBIPOC.com now and help build a stronger industry together.
Hey, what's good, everybody? I'm Karim Grant, a former professional football player. Do you want to know what current and former professional athletes are up to these days? Catch the Players Corner with Karim Grant exclusively on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So I have Colin Clark on the phone with me. I have you over Zoom. And we're talking about how to stay safe within your home, looking out for household hazards. So Colin, I want to share this story to everybody because I almost set our house on fire.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we have these glass cupboard doors in the kitchen with these nice little pot lights on the inside of the cupboard. And one of them, I guess, is hanging down. I don't know where the cover went. I have no idea. My husband is a wood turner, and he makes these beautiful bowls. And we had these bowls stacked up inside the cupboard. And cupboards were closed. I had the internal, those lights on. And now it seems like very obvious, but I was smelling smoke. I'm like, where the heck? And I couldn't find it anywhere. I was looking everywhere and I could not find what it was. And then I asked my son and he's like, no, I don't smell anything. And then I couldn't smell it anymore. I'm like, is it just me? I'm like burnt toast. Like what's going on here? And so I was taking my dogs for a walk and I said to my son, I'm like, okay, if you start smelling it again, go directly to the neighbors. Get the cat outside and go to the neighbors. And then I came back and my kids, my husband came home and the other kids came home and they're like, you almost set the house on fire. And there was a burn right through the bowl. right through the wooden bowl. It was like, oh, terrible. So don't do what I did.
Well, and that's, that's very common. I would be lying if I said that I've never experienced a close call in my own home, because it has happened before. But it's these simple things that we just don't think about. And when we're mindful of them, it can be the difference between having a fire in the home and not having one. And that's how simple it is. So a lot of times housekeeping is something we talk about. And I'm, not the most tidy person in the world, but I do, when it comes to fuel burning appliances and electrical equipment, I really make sure that I'm organized and that everything is tucked away. The other thing that we keep in our homes that sometimes we forget to think about is we do have small amounts of hazardous materials and flammable liquids, and we want to make sure that we store those in approved containers and out of the reach of children, and in like a metal cabinet or something in the basement, so that it is just the safest way to store these materials. We have had fires in the past where they weren't stored properly, and it does result in a house fire, and it's completely preventable. So it's just those small housekeeping items that we can all think about and be mindful of and prevent fires from happening.
Have you ever heard of fires starting because of aerosol hairspray being kept in a bad location?
Well, one of the things that we have had a few of, and it's actually used for woodworking. You were talking about turning bowls and stuff like that. Linseed oil, which a lot of woodworkers use for finishing furniture and things of this nature, is very flammable. And after you use a rag to wipe linseed oil on wood, you have to put those in a metal container that is closed, because if you just throw them in your garbage, they will over time heat up and start a fire. Okay. Yes, pressurized aerosol and flammable containers also can be bad when they're exposed to a heat source. But it's just, it's when you keep things of that nature, anything flammable or aerosolized or something of that nature in your home, just keep it in a safe place away from a heating source. And like I said, if it's something that could spontaneously combust like linseed oil, put it in a metal container and put it in the garage or in a workshop somewhere out of the home. Okay.
Now, also, if I know we don't necessarily want to have a fire department come to our place, well, unless you just want the firefighters to be
right. We get that sometimes.
But anyways, you want to make sure that your house is going to be seen. So I'm sure you've had some issues before of not even being able to see their house number at the front of the door. Where are we going here?
Yeah, so we always recommend that you trim trees away from those numbers. So we have a lot of rural properties in our township of Uxbridge and in Scugog, and we need to keep those at the road visible so that when the fire department's responding, we can find your laneway or your driveway and get into your house. We also ask that you trim your trees in your laneway down or up so that we can get our fire apparatus in there. And that's something sometimes a lot of people you would never think of is, I got to make sure a fire truck can get in here, right? So yeah, it's very important.
And having lights like shining on that number is so important. I've gone to people's houses before. I'm like, I can't tell. Trying to use my phone to like shine it on the wall. You can't see the number.
And it's not just for fires too. You could have a medical emergency, or there could be a carbon monoxide emergency or something that's not very visible like a fire. And the more visible that number is for all emergency services, including police and EMS, the safer you'll be.
All right. Sounds good. And, during the holiday season or even after, if you have stacks of paper, wrapping paper, anything like that, we should make sure we also keep those away from
heating sources.
Type of heating element, right?
Yeah. So we are moving a lot of stuff around after Christmas. We have old Christmas trees and we have old boxes full of paper, like you said, lots of combustible material around. We also have all kinds of electrical equipment and heaters and space heaters and things. We just want, housekeeping is such an important thing in the event of fire safety. So we can just limit the possibility of a fire ever happening, just like what happened to you. It's something so simple like that,
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad someone was home to stop that from happening. Thank you so much, Colin. It's great to have you on the show.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
We fought our way through Italy and then headed for Amsterdam, sweeping for Germans along the way. Our worst fear was to catch a bullet in these last hours of the war.
I was 15 when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands. More than 100,000 Dutch Jews never came home. Our men were put into forced labor. By 1945, we were starving. The food drops gave us hope. And then the Canadians came.
Before Amsterdam, I couldn't have explained why we were there, all those years away from home, but the Dutch showed us why it mattered.
Papa wanted me to bring some soldiers home to thank them personally. And that's when I first saw Wilf. And I invited him over that afternoon.
Marguerite Blaise married Lieutenant Wilf Gildersleeve. They moved to Vancouver, where they raised 8 children. Today, the Dutch still remember the Canadians who liberated them.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So with me on the show is Chris Wilson of the Optimist Club. And now, Chris, we're talking about I first want to mention about the fantasy of lights. Now, you were very optimistic, and it was fabulous. And the tunnel was absolutely my favorite part of the event.
Enjoyed the tunnel. Good. I'm glad to hear that. We worked hard on that tunnel.
So great. So are you in withdrawal now that the fantasy lights is done? Like, are you like getting the shakes going? Like, what do I do?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, it is bittersweet this time of year. We are so engulfed in Christmas lights, but it's also a really wonderful thing. So I think we certainly miss it, but it's nice to have a day's break. So tomorrow we can go back to planning 2022.
Nice. Well, that's
pretty much how long it takes now.
Yeah. Wow. So now, not everyone knows what the Optimist Club does, other than being very optimistic. What else? What do you do for the community? So you do this fabulous fantasy of lights, and then what else?
Well, Jackie, we've been around for just over 52 years now, and there's traces of what we've done for the community from the past 50 years that you can come in contact with sometimes without even realizing it. It was actually the Optimist Club that started the soccer club way back in the day. But what we're doing right now, we support local youth initiatives. That's our mandate. So we are partners in the Uxbridge Youth Centre. We're the sponsors for the first Uxbridge Scouts. We also contribute to Precious Minds and things like the Uxbridge Skate Park, the Uxbridge Rotary Skate Park. We were a big part of that. And of course, the Uxbridge Optimist Pump Park. So all of these things are being made possible by the donations from all of the great people who come through the Fantasy of Lights.
Fabulous. Oh, you know what? You just gave me goosebumps, because just thinking about the Uxbridge Skate Park and the Pump Park, that brings so much joy and fitness and social time to our kids. It gives them a place that is their own. And it's so important. And look how popular soccer is now, right? Soccer is... You guys, you guys started a brilliant thing within the community. So with the money that you get from the Fantasy of Lights, how do you go about deciding which initiatives? So there's certain organizations that you, as you mentioned, that you're already working with, but I understand people can apply. So if they're doing a new initiative in the community, they do have an opportunity to say, hey, you know, can you help me out with this? And so how does that work?
Well, we are here, and you're right. We do have certain initiatives that we support regularly, but we're also open for any kind of a youth initiative. So if a local youth wants to make a request, they can drop us an email, which is uxbridgeoptimist@gmail.com, or you can find it on our website, which is uxbridgeoptimist.com. And there's also links if it's easier for people who are Fantasy of Lights fans. uxlights.ca is the fantasy official website, and you can find us there too. So there's lots of ways to reach out to the Optimist Club. and we're happy to every spring we go through all of our opportunities to help fund different things, and that's part of the fun as well. So
nice. So with the organizations that you've been supporting, can you think of one or more initiatives that you're proud of to say, hey, we made that happen, and that was an awesome initiative that organization created for the community?
I think I can say that about every single one of them, Jackie, and that's what makes it so fulfilling and worthwhile to be a member of the Optimist Club, because it gives us that opportunity to have that kind of fulfillment and opportunity to give back. When I was a kid growing up in this town, the Optimist Club really helped support me on a lot of things. So it's full circle for me. But I think you said it yourself. I mean, the Uxbridge Optimist Pump Park has been a huge success, and we couldn't be happier to see how well it's being used and how much joy it's bringing to people. So yeah, really fulfilling.
You know, even though the pump park and the skate park is, you know, a youth, let's say a youth-based initiative, it's amazing the ages that you see on there, because I have seen 40, 50-year-old men and women on there and just giving her just as good as any of those teens out there, which I was very interested.
There's a kid in all of us, so why not?
Yeah. You know, I tried the pump park myself, and going around those corners, I'm like, okay, gotta slow right down, take it easy, heart totally pumping. And I was just with maybe 3 rounds. I was like, I'm done. I am exhausted. My nervous system. I'm like, okay, that was enough for me. But that
it's super fun.
Yeah, it's fabulous. So thank you so much for all that you do. And are you still looking for more members? And if anyone else wants to become a member, where do they go?
Absolutely. We're always looking for optimistic people, or people who aren't optimistic that want to become optimistic. We'll take it. You know what? If you're interested in giving back to the community, the Optimist Club is a great way of doing it. Again, you can reach out to us from our website, uxbridgeoptimist.com, and you'll get me. You'll get a response from me. So I'll look forward to hearing from any of you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It was wonderful to have you on the show again. We will be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Thanks, Jackie.
Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m., it's the RTV Quiz. Giovanni Petiti hosts a weekly trivia competition that lets you play from the comfort of your couch. Play along at home and challenge your friends. And don't forget to follow along on social media. Let us know who's top of trivia, and you can find yourself featured on a future episode.
Are you kidding me, folks?
The RTV Quiz, Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m. on Rogers TV or at rogerstv.com/RTV Quiz.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I love it. I have Elizabeth LaBelle again on the show from the Durham Humane Society. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good. And so is Gracie. You got Gracie here again?
Yes.
So during the holidays, you know, sometimes people get pets for the holidays, right? It'll be so nice. I'll get them a puppy. And then, but I'm sure there's some people out there that are, I don't want a dog, or I don't even know how to care for a dog. Or do you have any advice of what people can now do now that they might be like, what do I do with this?
Yeah. I mean, anytime that you're bringing an animal into the home, there's going to be a change in the dynamics because you're adding a member to your family. So if somebody has gifted you with a pet this holiday season and you aren't sure how to care for it, or you're realizing that it needs more care than you're able to provide, definitely reaching out to family and friends and seeing if you have anyone who is ready to take on that level of care. First and foremost, keeping them in the family is your best option. But if you can't do that, definitely it is the most responsible thing, and it takes a lot of courage to reach out to a shelter and ask for help. Asking for help is the first step to fixing the circumstances that you're in. So if you feel like it's overwhelming you, don't hesitate to call us, because we'd love to have a conversation with you. We'd love to either help you sort out the circumstance so that you can keep the pet in your home if that's what you want to do, or if you need help rehoming them to someone who is ready to take on the responsibility and level of care that's going to be needed for the animal, and perhaps it's just more than you can handle, we're happy to help figure that out with you as well.
Yeah, because for some, it might simply be the fear of, I've never had a pet before. I just don't know if I can even handle it. And so maybe just having a conversation with someone who knows about dogs and how to care for dogs can create that comfort level, that reassurance to help them to be able to handle it. But it is like having an extra child in the house, right? Like
it definitely is.
Fed and they need the love.
Yeah, and it really changes the dynamic in the home, especially if you have kids in the home too, and you're trying to teach them the responsibility of owning a pet. But you're right, with dogs, it's a whole extra task in the day. In certain regards, you're taking them for walks every single day. You have to train them how to be house trained in the house, or obedience training. There's so many things that go into owning a pet, and that can be overwhelming at times. And so our goal here, especially when we're sending animals home, is to set all of our adopters up for success. And if you've gotten a pet, but it's not from us, still call us, because we want to help you. We want to see everyone succeed with their pets in their home and have a good experience when they're adopting, when they're getting an animal into their home. We want to do everything we can to make it as calm and as peaceful a transition as possible.
Beautiful. Now, throughout COVID, I understand there's a lot of COVID puppies. A lot of people have gotten dogs, and then now they're being sent back to work. And so I understand some families are now, well, what do we do with this dog? Because we work so many hours, we're not in the home. So now, what advice do you have for those for the families that are having issues such as that?
Yeah, so very similar. If you're feeling overwhelmed by having this animal in your home, there are a few things you can do. For starters, you can reach out to a shelter for that same advice. You can look into training facilities. There's a lot of doggy daycares out there that are ready to have your dog come in as a client during the day while you're at work. Your dog is hanging out with other dogs, doing their thing. You can also look at rehoming the animal if that's what you think is best for the animal at that time. There are lots of people who might be overwhelmed by the circumstance and just need to talk it through. There's so many avenues for people who got puppies and dogs during COVID. There were a lot of limitations. You couldn't do the same level of training or socialization with other animals. So there are a lot of dogs and puppies that we're seeing come in here who do have this delayed opportunity to have those skills. So it is something that a lot of owners are finding that they have to still work through. It is something that has posed a challenge for a lot of dog owners. And that's okay, because we want to make sure that everyone understands there was so little that all of us could do during that time. And so now it's just about making sure that we continue to do our best to set these animals up for success for the rest of their lives.
Nice. Well, I'm so glad you guys are there. And a couple of the doggy daycares that just popped into my head, I thought I'd mention them. There's so many amazing ones out there, I'm sure, but Palace came to mind that are in Uxbridge. I know a lot of neighbors who have also gone to Dogs at Camp, where I think they have like a pond on their property, not necessarily the best this time of year, but there's a lot of, and they have trails to walk on, lots of outdoor space to run in. I can't remember the name of the other one that I've taken my dogs to before that is right on Goodwood Road. So
Okay.
there's lots of doggy daycares out there for
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's been great to talk to you.
Bye. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Are you a woman experiencing abuse? Do you know a woman experiencing abuse? Help is available any time of day or night. Sheltersafe.ca is an online map that helps you find a women's shelter or transition house that meets your needs so you can live a life free from violence. Sheltersafe.ca. Help is just a click away.
Hi, I'm Constable Darrell Rice, Durham Regional Police Service. Tune into Rogers Cable 10 to watch me on Seniors Talk with DRPS, where we'll talk about all kinds of amazing information and community programs for you, our seniors in Durham Region.
Hi, I'm Sean Lackey, and this is Sold with Sean Lackey. You should check us out if you want to find out what's going on in the world of real estate. We'll have all sorts of guests to keep you in the loop on what's going on in this wonderful world.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So that's a wrap of the show. Now, at the top of the show, I did pull a card, and it was flow, release expectations. So what I just wanted to follow up with that card is that the importance of not thinking things need to look a certain way, and to allow the opportunity for possibilities to come up. And I pulled another card because I wanted to see like what more information. And the next card that I got is possibilities. So that was the first card, and this is the second card. So dream big. So have no expectations, but dream big in that things can be good. Things are getting better. All right, 2022 has a possibility of being fabulous, and you have a possibility of being absolutely fabulous. Make decisions from your heart, and like what's going to float that boat, what's going to help you to make your heart sing. Make those decisions, and that 2022 can be absolutely fabulous for you. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I was almost going to restart the show, but I hope you enjoyed this show, and we'll be back next week for more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. If you want to be the show, send us an email, uxbridgescugoglife@rci.rogers.com. We'll see you later. Bye.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
You must be the reporter. Come with me.
So, Miss McGill, how does it feel being Canada's famous women engineer?
The real story is the work we've done retooling this factory.
To build the Hawker Hurricane?
Indeed. 40 planes last month with a capacity of up to 100. Our fighters are over England as we speak. Of course, it pains me to see airplanes mass-produced like boxcars or baby carriages. But in war, we make concessions in favor of innovation.
You must feel at home, though, managing all of these women.
I'm not here to manage women.
Well, you